everyone, welcome back to another Age of Empires 4 commentary. I am Beyond, and thank you so much for the support in the past couple of videos and the channel as a whole. I really can't believe how fast this thing is growing, and I couldn't be happier to keep bringing you Age of Empires 4 gameplay. Speaking of that, let's get right into this. In the pink, rocking the little new elephant in the middle, it is Corvinus, one as the English. A great streamer, would highly recommend checking out their content. We'll leave their link in the description below. And across the map in the red, rocking the golden boat, we have Sass as the French. This matchup is definitely probably one of the most standard matchups in all of Age of Empires 4, as it has two of the most popular civs involved, French versus English. Also historically, these two go at it all the time. Now, I did leave this open so you can copy what's going on here. As you can also see, Corvus is going for those two early farms. The English do get very, very good return on investment on these early farms. Now, before going into that, the English currently have a 50% win rate over about a sample size of about 200 games in Conqueror and above. And then the English have about a 48% win rate across about 10 to 11,000 games across every other rank. So honestly, it's pretty dead even for this. This early on, it really depends. The French currently, what are you doing? You see that? You just hide behind the mine. You know what I mean? Like, just like, guys, don't worry about it. I don't want to work today. It's not a big deal. But this one is definitely going to be, the French are typically going for those early knights, 1 to 2, gain some map control, drop that second TC down. We'll have to see if Sass decides to go all in like we saw Anatan a few videos ago, and just keep up with that feudal age pressure and forget about that second TC. The English can do one of two things. They can go for a quick second TC and then drop a third TC with their King's Palace, or they can go for a quick castle and then they essentially get a free TC as well with that King's Palace. At this level, we see that more and more. This is going to be the first one. Oh no, need some trees really quick. There's a School of Cavalry going down for Sass across the map. Council Hall is also being pulled and going down. The sheep are getting heavily involved. As you can see, they are completely safe from all attackers as they are inside the base. Now, in this matchup is definitely interesting. We'll have to wait and see. It's a lot of micro as well early on. If those French Knights get a lot of damage, you can be in for some trouble. If the French Knights are thwarted and you're able to get up a second TC or get up to that castle age without much impact on you, then you're sitting in a very, very good spot. Now, if you've made it to this far in the video and you have been loving the content recently or even just liking it, you don't have to love. Love is a strong word. I would appreciate it if you subscribed and leave a like. It helped me out a ton. And I'm going to be saying AoE for a long, long time. So I'm looking to grow as quickly as possible, especially get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. That is the most important thing to me at the current moment, and continue to make you guys as happy as humanly possible as I can with the content. I've been trying to get more dual cast on here, like co-casters. I have some ideas for maybe some coaching because I am terrible. I've been streaming a lot more. So anything that you guys want to see, let me know. I'm probably not the best one for build orders. That would be Valdemar or Beastie or someone a pro. But I can definitely do kind of build highlights and stuff like that. So let me know in the comments if there's anything that I'm not doing yet that you would love to see that's in my wheelhouse / capabilities. Remember, I can't win you and I can't get you to Conqueror. But what I can do is I can talk decently well over gameplay. So we'll see from there. That's what we can do. But I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, now that I'm done yammering on about all my plugs, we have Sass is fully into the feudal age. Corvinus dings up right after. We have this scout doing lots and lots of scouting type of things. Remember, in the lower levels, always make sure this thing is moving. This scout should be all over the map, constantly looking around. In the lower levels, I can't tell you how many times I've lost to just random things. One time in my last stream, the English went for a tower rush on me. I stopped it. I was like, I'm sitting in such a great position. I just thwarted that. You know what he did with the 4 villagers? I couldn't chase them down because it was a stealth force, so I didn't see where they went. They went to the corner of the map, dropped a TC on a gold vein, and all of a sudden, he won because he had 2 TCs and he was sitting pretty. So we'll have to wait and see. But just make sure you scout. That's the biggest thing. We see Corvinus going for this stock standard spearman play. Wants to defend against any shenanigans. Is this the first knight over yonder? It is. Look at how majestic this thing is. It's absolutely incredible. And it's probably the best, as I've mentioned many times in my videos, it's probably the best unit overall in the game. Just for like pound for pound, when this thing gets upgrades, it could do a whole lot of damage. Sass is looking for that damage onto that gold, but Corvinus is already off. He's like, I don't need it. Don't you worry about it. Don't need it at all. We have safe food over here. Plenty of sheep underneath the TC. And this lumber camp is also in a very, very good position. We hear the English bells honking. It's absolutely crazy how good that TC is early on for the English. As someone who stopped playing English recently, my oh my, that thing is an absolute machine gun. But as we sit here and kind of wait to see what goes on, it looks like both players have a gentleman's agreement to not really do too much, and Corvinus is not getting hit by this knight in any way, shape, or form. He has more and more spearmen popping out. And that should be enough to kind of thwart any real issues coming his way. I will say we have a little battalion moving out. As the English, as I've always said before, you always want to make sure that you have at least 2 to 3 spearmen with your archers. If you don't, they will get cleaned up so quickly. The knights are circling like Jaws back here, just looking for anything out in the open. They might start taking chances to dive these villagers over here, but it would do a lot of damage to them, so it probably wouldn't be worth it, especially without chivalry. And it looks like, though, Sass knows that there's going to be a wall coming up. Well, actually, if he left it there, he would have gotten a free kill. Maybe he'll go back, we don't know. But it looks like he's going home, because maybe he got whiff of this shen. He did. There's a dead scout over there, which means he's moving these things back, because he knows there's going to be some early aggression coming out of Corvinus. Corvinus is also moving out. A great way to stop the English is to attack their stragglers. The one thing that English early aggression, which is why it's not the best at the current moment, is they are very susceptible to just like kind of having those bowmen straggle behind. Since they really depend on that one council hall, they kind of just pop out in little ones. They pop out really quickly, but with other buildings, they kind of come out in little clusters. The English is not so much, which is why they're so susceptible to that. Now, these archers and these knights, they found some prey early on, and they're going to be doing some damage. We also see that second TC, the classic, the French special, coming in over here. And now these knights are in on these archers, and that's all she wrote, folks. That's done. That army is done and dusted. They traded out a little bit well. We have some more. Oh, my goodness. The surround. Sass with the fancy micro over there, getting the nice surround on these longbowmen. And here come the knights to clean up the remaining forces. There should be a spearman coming up pretty soon, but not before that guy gets absolutely mollywopped by these knights. And now they're running for the hills. We don't have a spearman coming up for quite some time. There's the duo over here. It looks like they're going to be losing yet another archer before they peel off. Is Sass able to peel off in time? He actually is not. It's going to lose a knight, which is actually huge. We also see a random horseman out on the map. And yeah, I mean, overall, decent because Corvinus was able to snipe that knight at the end. It made it not horrific. But Sass definitely did a great job defending that. Also has his TC now up and safe and sound. It looks like we're building up quite a mass, though, over here, so Corvinus might be wanting to do some damage over yonder. As you can see, the villager count is already getting to the point where it's 4 of a lead for Sass. Remember, the French have boosted economy, so they can get their villagers out in 17 seconds, and it scales up per age, and the English have the stock standard 20, which is why we see the difference already forming. And it's only going to get larger until Corvinus decides to go for Castle Age or a second TC. I see no little pink blobs on these rocks over here, which would make me so inclined to think that it is not going to be a 2 TC play out of Corvinus. We're going to see a kind of a faster castle. Now, we do have 9 archers, which is substantial, but nothing crazy. We can see Sass is already producing 7 on the backhand side, and with the help of a TC, they should be in a very, very good position. Now, Sass is doing a great job at hiding his army in the backhand side. The English can't dive with this force. They can do a little bit of chip damage overall. We see that Sass is quickly moving his villagers over to the other side, the other wood line, to make it a little bit safer. Corvinus is going to do the long mosey around this whole thing. But look at how many villagers have popped out and are getting safe food from over here. Sass is sitting very, very good on the food front. Does need some more wood to produce these archers. But doesn't look like it's going to be in the cards, especially if this massive army gets in onto this wood line. They can always just trade back, though, and which is very, very frustrating for Corvinus. Pretty great for Sass if you're sitting in this position at the current moment. Now, 7 villager lead has grown. It looks like this villager is going to be a nice play here by Corvinus, able to cancel that out. And this villager is going to be gone to the good before we even get anything, and is able to quickly do some damage on that side. Does get the 1 for their troubles, but we have the whole squad moving back here, which is I don't think this is a good idea at all. I think they're going to run into an absolute buzzsaw, and they are. All 5 are just essentially gifted and donated. This is not good at all. We might be losing 1 or 2 more, and there goes another one. Luckily they have their Nikes on, so the 2 of them did escape, but 3 just donated to the good right there, which makes this entire push very, very worth it for Corvinus. If they did not lose those, it would be in a very rough spot, but is able to make this a little bit more tolerable. We can see a ram technology coming out for Corvinus on the backhand side. And it looks like we're going to be seeing a little bit of an engage, trying to snipe off those spearmen as quickly as possible, because those knights can get in onto the archers. That is going to be a rough, rough time. We see the full-on farm transition. I love what Corvinus did here, which is keeping these very, very safe and sound towards the TC, because those knights are going to be raiding for sure. A French staple is when you're building your mass over here, they're going to be raiding with their knights on the other side. So make sure you're protected, make sure you're safe and sound. This wood line is pretty susceptible, though, so I wouldn't be surprised to see some French knights dive in on there. But besides that, we'll have to wait and see. This entire base is still absolutely cooking, and as you can see, even with killing 4, he is still down 9 villagers at the current moment, and more stragglers are going down. It looks like they're going to be gifted to Sass. So instead of gifting villagers, Sass is gifted some free soldiers, which is never the worst thing ever. That scout is needed for the rest, though. This is going to be really bad if it gets taken down. It is, and that's kind of an issue because it just leaves them a little bit blind, right? They can't see what's going on. And look at this force. Here comes the ram. They are sick and tired of Sass having this extra free TC. Corvinus wants to show them why that is not going to be allowed on his map. We have 20 spearmen and 19 archers. The lads are doing a little conga line around. Looks like a nice little wedding party as we go. The archers doing all the work. It's an absolute classic. Spearmen are like, I'll help out a little bit. There we go. They get their spears in there. Little tools all banding together, which is always nice. You can also see that Corvinus is now grouping his units to sprint them across the map, because it does get to be really, really tough. Now, these rams are going to have a very good position to come in over here and broadside this TC. It will allow the English longbowmen to sit back here and do a lot of damage over here, and also the knights can only attack from here and here. They could also swing around the back if that's what they so inclined, but another villager killed, so we're already up to 7. And it looks like Corvinus is going to be meeting the French army for battle. 1 knight goes down lickety-split because there's a lot of spearmen in this mass right now. I will say the archers are focusing the wrong thing at the current moment. They're focusing the horsemen when they should be focusing the archers. There we go. Just as I say that, the pro player quickly makes that adjustment. It looks like these rams are going to be taken down before the town center is actually able to go down. And Corvinus is going to be in a really rough spot after this, because that town center needs to go down from that double ram push. Again, another knight goes down, so that is very, very good for them. But that entire army was pushed back, and we still see a 10 villager lead. But 7 villagers killed and a few knights is nothing to sneeze at if you are the English player. And more units are streaming across the map. Hopefully you can do some poke damage quite soon. But Sassos have a ample amount of archers to do a ton of damage. And now these boys are running for the hills. Robin Hood, get those Nikes on, because you better be a sprinting. It might not happen. It looks like they're all going to be coming down to the battle of the sword. And the lance, nope, the sword back again. We're not going to do the lance, sword, lance. It's going back and forth quite quickly. We can see back in Corvinus's base, we have a stock standard English base, but these are going to be absolutely devastated. Every English villager going down is just absolutely compounded because of the fact of the lack of 2 TCs. It looks like Corvinus is floating enough to go up to Castle Age, just doesn't have enough food just yet, which is actually unique for English players. And there's the farm transition going down. Again, just as I say all these things, Corvinus is quick to fix that, which is why they are a pro and I am not. Now moving out, we can see the French army is taking full map control. We have a wall going up over here to defend against the English longbows. We have a farm transition going on as well for Sass in the background. We can see this entire economy is getting being nice and robust. We can see the army value is heavily in favor of Sass. That is because of the Royal Knights. The Royal Knights are looking for a little bit of an angle to get some poke off. And we have 7 Royal Knights and 24 archers into 13 longbowmen and 4 spears. King's Palace is being dropped, as I mentioned before. It is just absolutely incredible that the English get to go up with a TC. Makes them pretty decent. As I said right now, obviously Imperial Aids, they are absolutely bonkers. But besides that, they're sitting in a very, very good spot. Now these French knights are rolling around, and I don't mean the civ itself. I think there could be some buffs to the feudal age, but I think that overall they're in a decent spot. Remind me very similar to the HRE. They're decent. They're about 50% win rate, I think, like that. They're like solid. They're not like overly tuned, kind of like the Rus are at the current moment. So overall, I think the game's in a really good spot. Yeah, I think balancing wise, everything's sitting in a fairly even-ish spot. Like I said, besides maybe the Rus, but that's a whole different story, whole different ball game, if you will. The Royal Institute is also going in on the backhand side next to the berries, and Sass is very content with just letting this game extend into Castle Age. English are decent in Castle Age, but the French are definitely better with those Castle Age knights. Nothing really stands out from the English Castle Age at the current moment, especially because their landmark just gives you a TC, which is really great if you're a fast castle. But if it's not fast castle, then it's not like as advantageous. These are Castle Age archers though, so they are going to be doing a lot of damage to these units, but probably moved out a little bit too prematurely. Is going to be able to take down 2 knights though, which is quite nice. And there's another one taken down. So it's actually a decent, if they can keep trading in on the knights, this is how it will be worth it. Another knight's going to be going down. So picking off those knights is so important. Yes, the archer mass is there for Sass, but these knights are the breadwinners of the composition, if you will. They also cost an absolute fortune, so the more you lose, the worse off, especially because they can heal up on the backhand side. A lot of money has gone into these knights, but Sass is still pretty confident with these trades. As you can see, his economy is in full swing, has a 20 villager lead, and it's just going to be retreating back to get these upgrades up and about. And once these knights ding with those silver helmets, there they are. This army can absolutely eradicate this army over here. Corvin is getting a little bit spicy, a little bit audacious. The audacity to move out with just these guys over here. If they were found crossing the fields of the battle, they would be absolutely ravaged. But luckily for them, no one has caught them just yet because they don't even have any spear companions on the backhand side. And the absolute classic English longbowman up over the top, shooting off villagers left and right. 2 more go down, and none will be taken down for their services. We have Castle Age spearmen as well, but this is probably not the best engagement over here for Corvinus because these archers are able to absolutely toasty these spearmen, and now the French knights are in onto the archer mass. They're actually dropping back just enough as they're waiting for their range 2 armor because these English longbowmen can hurt really badly. So quite nice there by Corvinus to kind of just make sure you get some pot shots onto these knights, but also really great play here from Sass, playing the economic advantage and doing some solid trades as well. We can see now knights are over here for Corvinus as well. They're going to be absolutely slaughtered though by their superior brethren on the other side of the battle. But I will say Corvinus is doing a great job at picking off these knights. More and more going down, as you can see. And now knights are back in the battlefield. Some nice charge bonus on that one. We do have some nice kiting in the back end side doing tons and tons of damage, but the Sass army is quite large, and the knights are being cleaned up on the back end side of the battle. But this army, while the micro was pristine, he doesn't really have an option into these 28 Castle Age archers. And they're still getting lots and lots of damage. Corvinus is showing his skills in terms of his retreat fire, which is quite nice. And finally able to kind of catch up in villagers. Not actually catch up, but at least not make this number go any higher with the second TC. But the French is quite content right now. A full farm transition going on as well for Sass. Pretty much getting everything they could possibly want. And on the back end side, we have berries going up. We have the Royal Institute researching royal bloodlines now. We still don't have chivalry, actually, so these things cannot... I misspoke before. These things cannot heal just yet, which is why we see so many of them going down. But again, Sass is still sitting in a very good position. And once he gets that chivalry bonus, it's going to be very good, and they can start to raid again. I will say the English player has made his base nearly impossible to raid on the front and the backhand side, especially if he gets another wall up over here. We have the relics are starting to be collected, at least they are being thought about. Let's see if we can see a monastery over here anywhere. Oh, just a scout. Monastery. I don't see one, but I'm sure there is one. There might not be. Looks like we have some pot shots going back and forth from each army. These archers are so good. We finally have ranged defense level 2 as well, and it looks like these knights are going to get a nice engage. We don't have any spearmen on the map for Sass, so this knight mass is going to be absolutely brutal for him to deal with, because they can just chase down these archers with no tomorrow. Does need to get these spearmen away from them though, because they will be absolutely ripped apart. And now the French knights are here, but now there's also some spearmen in the mix as well. And now the English knights get another charge, absolutely evaporating this archer mass. And these knights are doing so much damage. There's nothing to deal with them at the current moment on the map. And these now spearmen are actually getting involved as well. They're starting to dive this forward production from Sass. Sass is taking this engage, so is Corvinus. Corvinus is going all in for this. We have more and more spearmen rolling in, which is doing so much damage to these knights. Every single archer for the French has been taken down. They're now in onto these gold villagers. Those 3 of them will be going down quite quickly. And now we just have French knights versus the world, which is what they are used to doing. But there's only 8 of them on the map at the current moment. And these knights are now turning to get all the spoils of this war. We have a lot of knights in production because the production for Corvinus is so good. As you can see, tons of resources coming in per second. And the full surround on these poor villagers getting absolutely done and dusted. We have 18 kills for Corvinus, playing this incredibly well. We see the forward walls going up as well. Sass is trying. There's the monastery over here. It's almost like just, it's like when a DoorDash driver like just drops it off right in front of your door, so you open it and you break it down when, you know what I mean? Like you tip over the food instead. This is what this guy's doing. Just, like, I'm here. All right, you have to come and get it. It's like, all right, well, I'll come and get it. Leave it right there. Just put it in the house. There we go. Takes forever. My goodness, this English army is looking spooky. Corvinus with these knights looking very tough to stop. Still no spearmen on the field for Sass, so there's really nothing to deal with this many things. There's only 12 French knights, and now the knights have found new prey. It looks like about 7 villagers will be found quite quickly, and there they go. The archers are the first ones to see what's going on. The first one is taken down. The second one's taken down. The third one is taken down. Probably going to let those ones leave. Up to 22 villagers killed. And now they're moving in onto this weaker TC. Looks like they're just going to be burning it down with just those pitchforks and torches. Those Molotovs being thrown up and over the top, making it light work of this. The entire army is gone. Going to be building a ram to take the rest of these structures out, I'm assuming. And you can pretty much just move every single one of these things and take down as much as you possibly can. It looks like the French knights are finally going to be coming over here. And another monastery is actually in the back, so they have 2 relics. Sass has 2 relics, and look at how many archers are in the back line for Corvinus. We have 23, but 44 We have 44 spearmen on the field. These knights don't stand a chance if they get any sort of engage. And here they go. They start in their poking ways, and all these French crossbowmen, which are very, very expensive. And there is the GG's. Sass gives up. Well played there from Corvinus, dealing so much damage early on, getting some villager kills, getting that second landmark, which made him a second TC, and then just the pivot to knights was the absolute difference maker there, and able to just pump them out continuously, kill off that archer mass, and GG's for Corvinus. If you guys did enjoy this video, please do subscribe and leave a like. I'd really appreciate it, and thank you so much and have a great night.